Ladies, gentlemen, my often forgotten, but certainly not by me, snap ring launchers. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be working on this guy right here. Allison 1000. Still has the transfer case on it. We are going to be putting it on the trans bench to disassemble it, go through it, and make sure there's nothing worn out, anything broken. I bought the truck not running and driving, so we're going to just go through everything. Might give a little tips and tricks on the Allison transmission as a whole and some of the things that we do here to upgrade line pressure or improve clutch engagement, stuff like that. There are some secrets that are gonna stay secrets, so without further ado, we're gonna get this guy off the bench, get mine on the bench, and start tearing it down. So quick little update. So when you're pulling the bell housings off of these Allisons, you have your two quick connect fittings that go in the ports. Your two cooler fitting, when it's in here, does not allow you to get a socket on that bell housing bolt super easy. Only goes in right here. So we pull these out, and that allows you to get a better shot on that bolt.
Hey, can I make like a guess with your...
Next, we're going to be pulling the bell housing off, which is just a little bit of a rubber mallet to get it popped free of the pump and pump plate. Then we'll be pulling all the internals out from the front side, and I will end up flipping the trans over and pulling everything out of the back from the tail housing. So back to it. back. We got all the clutches out. Some of the stuff on the table is not mine, from about here. All this stuff is mine. So pulled it apart. We have a couple clutch packs that are not looking super hot. Figured I'd give a little tech tip. These little clips right here that hold this solenoid in. It's hard to see them, but those guys will end up in the ceiling if you don't catch them when you pull them out. Just use a little pick tool to get underneath them. There's a wiring harness that sits like that, but usually they will do that. So now we are going to pull the valve body out, clean the case, clean the bell housing, tail housing, pan, all that good stuff. Get it all nice and clean, so then I can start going back together with it. Gonna have to replace a couple parts that I don't think we have. Not super time sensitive on some of the stuff that I don't have, but have all the gaskets as long as we have all the clutches that we need, which we're just gonna be going back with some stock stuff like those guys. This is not going to be like a high performance, high horsepower holding transmission. All that I'm going to be using this truck for is to be towing around, you know, smaller trailer enclosed, maybe a gooseneck from time to time. So going to do some valve body mods, which I'll show some of that stuff, and then we will be doing a couple other secret things that I'm not going to show. Just kind of some tricks and stuff that we've developed over a couple years, either here at our shop or talking with Dave at GoRun or whoever else. So we'll get this valve body out and start cleaning some stuff up. Alright, we got the valve body out. I pulled the harness that goes out through here that the transmission actually plugs into. It's now in the trash can. These plugs are actually super known for, if you can see in there, super wet down in there. It'll actually start passing fluid from inside the pan through that connector and cause you some codes. So it's starting to pass some fluid through it. I don't know how old that is, and we have a harness, so we're going to go ahead and replace that. I may not even mess with this valve body. I have the one that I took out of my my old truck, which is, I believe, that top one. So probably gonna use that one. I know for a fact it's got a lot less miles on it. Pull it apart, go through it. Probably just gonna do a EPC fooler, which is one of these guys. It'll just up some line pressure. Won't need a trans tune or anything like that. Like I said before, this is just going to be a optimized stock rebuild. So we're going to go ahead and start cleaning up some of these parts. Probably not going to film that. It's not anything wonderful to watch me stand here and hand wash some parts. So we'll be back after I get some of these parts cleaned up and go through some of these clutches. I'll show you guys what's not desirable when you pull it apart, what to look for. So we're back. Got the case cleaned up, got bell housing and tail housing all cleaned up. I'm gonna probably time lapse setting up all the clutches and steels, just because I might show kind of how, like this, got it set up. I don't have my return spring in there. I'm just checking clearances. So how I go about doing that is in this guy. Let me get the camera so it'll fit down in here. So you have this big snap ring that runs all the way around in between here, and that bottom groove fits in that little cubby. So I slip a feeler gauge in between those, and I'll check it there, check it over here, just to make sure the clutch packs and the steels aren't in there kind of crooked. So there is different, depending on which clutch pack you're adjusting, there's going to be different clearance specifications. Also depends on what clutches you're running, what kind of internal mods, as far as there's some shims to allow space for more clutches and steels, which is more clamping force. We're not going to be doing any of that on this specific transmission. This is just going to be a stock rebuild, like I said. So there isn't going to be any extra clutches, extra steels. I've already changed out this apply plate to a thicker one, just to get a more desired tolerance here. I think I was around 100 thousandths plus. Typically I'm going to set C4s around 50 thousandths on brand new clutches, steels, all new stuff. I check them all dry, and then I will go back through, soak all the clutches, put them back in, double check clearances. But typically on a stock rebuild, the clearances can be a little more open, especially on a stock application, because you're not hunting for that real fast shift. You're not hunting for tons of clamping force where you're trying to hold 1,000+ horsepower. So on something like this, the gap can be a little bit more. Okay, so we're back. I just time-lapsed me installing all these clutches and steels. So on these, you can see there's this little hole right here. I line up all of my clutches and all my steel oiling holes, especially on a stock slotted clutch and steel application, to allow for more fluid flow through those to keep them cool. And so there's different styles of clutches. There's slotted and non-slotted. You can see here you have a slotted aftermarket unit, and then you would have more of a race application, which is a non-slotted. A little bit different material, a little different oiling orifices. So yeah, just getting all this stuff put in there, getting it ready for some of the planetaries to go back in. So I'll probably move back to the time lapses. Okay, got the trans flipped over, got the tail housing all back on, everything torqued down there. Went through the input drum, got all it back together, checked all the clutches, clearances looked good, so I went back together with it, checked everything in there. So tomorrow I'm going to come back and pull the pump stator, pump apart, make sure that it's all good, everything in there, maybe do a couple springs, stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be like 10-12 hours for me. It'll be here in a few seconds for you guys. So we'll pick up tomorrow where I left off today. And we're back. It's a new day. About to be pulling this pump and pump stator apart. Take a look at everything. The way I like to do these is these 5-10 millimeters. I'll take all but 2 out. And the last 2 that are in, I will leave them loose. And then I'll flip this whole assembly over, and then I will pull those 2 bolts out. That way I can remove everything. So I'll show you guys how I do that. Hopefully this is a good spot. Camera. Maybe. Hopefully it doesn't fall. There's the one. And there's the 2. And there's the pump and pump plate. Set that guy aside. Okay. So now that we have the pump plate off, get a better look at pump stator and pump. Pull this pump apart. Does not look too bad. Like I've said before, this truck's got some serious miles on it, and I mean, it does not show in the trans. That's for sure. So I'm just gonna drain out any bit of fluid that's left in this guy, and start disassembling it, and then get some of this stuff cleaned up, and then clean up our pump plate. We've got a couple holes to drill through this guy, and I will update you guys once I get there. Alright, we're back, and I figured I'd just go over some of the modifications we do in the pump. If you can see down in here, I should get like a pointer, but down in here there's a little plug we put in here. I forget what it does off the top of my head. I want to say it does, it's for converter flow. That plug goes down in there, and then you stake the case so that way it won't come back out. So what I do is I'll use a pick tool, and I will try and pull it back up, and if it doesn't come back out, we're good. So I got to clean that out now. There's a little bit of debris in there, and then I will be cleaning up this guy, some like 1500 sandpaper. Gonna be going back with a bigger spring and shim for all the sauce, and then got a couple other, gonna drill out pump plates still, and then be going back together. So back to the time lapse. Quick little update video. I'm gonna pop this little plate off. Set the camera down for a quick second. So these plates, they are a retaining plate for some springs and also your two solenoids. So you've got 3 little springs, 1, 2, 3, and then these 2 solenoids here. Sometimes, like right now, pulled that retainer plate off and they did not shoot out. There are springs behind them, so they will pop out. However, we're just going to be replacing this guy with the blue spring, check ball, in that other sleeve. So just thought throw that little bit of info in there. Okay, we're back, and valve body is pretty much back together. Got all my accumulator springs in. Got that dude in. So now we're going to reinstall the valve body back into the case. I'm going to throw the bell housing back on just to hold the pump and pump stator, and then get this guy back in. So, back to the time lapses. And we're back. We got the trans finished up. I just got done washing up a couple of the brackets, getting those cleaned up. I think that's going to do it for this episode of the dually build. Got this thing back together. I'm going to be waiting on a converter. Not sure what I'm going to be going with just yet. I may make a short video on taking apart this transfer case. This is an LML transfer case. I don't remember the exact part number on them. I know they're a little bit different than the older transfer cases that came on the Allisons. So yeah, this is end product of the Allison rebuild. Thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, and I will see everybody in the next one.